Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to the Young Smirks podcast. We have a very special guest, my very good friend. What's your name again, Sheikh? Sheikh Said Rageah.
Abu Mikan.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء.
Sheikh, you know, I'm very happy to interview you today and have you on my podcast because
This is the first time we sat together, like this.
it's true.
Yeah?
You know, subhanAllah, my first ever YouTube video was actually, I was behind the camera filming you in Manchester. SubhanAllah. And since then, we've built a relationship, we've been doing dawah, traveling.
You do more dawah than I do.
No, Sheikh,
You do more dawah,
subhanAllah.
tabarakallah. May Allah bless you.
Sheikh, we have one thing in common, and that is our love for Africa.
We do.
So I want to speak about that later on in the podcast,
Sure,
inshallah.
absolutely.
But first of all, I want to introduce those who don't know you. You're Sheikh Said, and you're from Canada.
I'm Sheikh Said, born in Somalia. I lived part of my life in Saudi.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Canada. Beautiful, beautiful country. All those countries are beautiful. And then I went back to Africa 2013. That was for me, it was a new world. It was a different world than what I was taught about Africa. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
And alhamdulillah, since being involved with da'wah, I've been doing da'wah like you.
Sheikh, you know, I heard that you're good at basketball.
I used to be.
I was just watching you play pool downstairs, but
I was terrible.
yeah, you had the cue behind your back, and I'm like, subhanAllah.
And man, look,
You're trying to play basketball with a snooker.
the moves were all wrong. I don't play that pool table. I hardly play.
Now, Sheikh, you're based in Toronto.
Yes.
And you do a lot of youth work.
Yes.
You know, when you went back from Saudi, you studied in Saudi, you went back to Toronto, you was doing a lot of youth work. And subhanAllah, you was actually speaking about this the other day, and you was telling me how you started working with the youth. I know even lately there's been a lot of gun crime as well in Toronto.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
SubhanAllah, recently an imam was killed as well.
No, shot.
Shot. He's not killed.
No, he's
But I thought, but somebody died.
in the car.
Who was with
in the
him.
car.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
Yeah, but not the imam was okay. Actually,
Yeah.
he was
SubhanAllah.
perfectly fine.
So how is it in Toronto?
Let me tell you a little bit about. A lot of people think that I went back to Saudi and I studied Islam in Saudi. It's not true. I was raised in Saudi early part of my life, so I came to Canada, and then I was trying to get back to Saudi to study Islamic University. But then I realized they do have a branch of Imam Muhammad bin Saud in Virginia. Fairfax,
okay.
Virginia. So I went there and I applied. And the funny thing is, when I went there
In the States?
in the States,
Okay.
so when I went there, they used to have a delegation from the Imam, University of Muhammad bin Saud, the delegation from Medina, and they used to pick students, and they bring applications. Those days were good old days, bring application, what do you want to go, what do you want to do, and all that. And every time I filled my application, I sit with the group, and they test me. They were like, by the time you finish university, you will know exactly what you know now. We don't want you. So I had to sit there and finish my 5 years university. It's exactly the same university of Imam Muhammad bin Saud. That's why we got connected with all the scholars. But one thing that helped me with that is I was never out of touch with Western reality. I was never out of touch with what the youth were going through. It was not like me, I was away for 8 years or 9 years, and then now I need to catch up. I missed this, I missed that. Because when you go to Medina and Mecca, or you're living in a little bubble.
Yeah.
You really you live in a protected, preserved, unique environment. You don't see what we see in the city of Toronto during summertime. But when you live in the West, and I remember some of the ulama, some of the scholars, the professors, what the university used to do, they will bring professors from Riyadh, and they will bring them here, and then 2-3 years they will send them back, bring a new batch. And you can tell that the professor who came from Saudi fresh.
Yeah.
And he sees a sister with jilbab and with hijab, and she walks into the room. Astaghfirullah, sister. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Cover your face. Cover your face.
It's a big
because that's the mentality. She's wearing jilbab. She's wearing a hijab.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4 years, if he sees a sister with no hijab, he will still welcome her and teach her about Islam.
Yeah.
Because they grow.
Yeah, because I lived in the Middle East as well for some time, and you become accustomed to certain traditions, and coming back sometimes you might not be used to it.
Yes,
but you was always there. You was always had your hand in the West, and
yes.
I think this is why a lot of the youth connects with you.
Well, going back to your question, see, I think that da'is themselves, we need to evolve. My days when we finished university was 2004, right? I was like, there was not the fitna of Facebook, no fitna, no Snapchat, no this, no that. There was no TikTok, none of that. So students would come and listen to the halaqah for 2 hours. Friday night it was packed and everybody had pen and paper. There was no Google that the kids, it wasn't as accessible. But now it's different. But I'm realizing that as da'is, we're still not moving forward with the change. We're still doing exactly the same thing, that we did it 10 years ago or 15 years ago. What also I realized dealing with the youth is, it's not, how much you preach. It's how much you live their life. Because you can relate to them, sometimes my kids will come and I'm Googling the latest song or the latest movie, and they're like, what are you doing? Do you listen to this? I say, no, but I need to know what is happening. You got to be in touch.
So that's your excuse for going to the movies, right? Market research for the doll.
Hey. Black Panther was okay. I was okay.
Subhanallah. So, no, but it is important to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Things have changed a lot. Even like, I'm only 33, Sheikh. I know I look old, yeah?
But you don't look old. You look fresh, mashallah.
Sheikh, but the point is, even me, I'm speaking to like 25-year-olds, and they're saying, when I was younger, because now the youth, 17, 18-year-olds, it's a different world.
It's a different world, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they don't really, I don't know how, what I'm really, really trying to emphasize is live with youth, live with their struggle, move on with them, be able to change and adapt the change that they're going through, because they're going through, a lot of faster than what we used to go through. And look, right now, when those days, when I graduated, I came back, the biggest criminals were those who were selling drugs, or perhaps, selling weapons. And then we used to go after them, work with them, try to bring them to the masjid. Because I'm against the idea, come with a short thobe to the masjid and just preach the ones who's sitting in the masjid. They're already mu'mineen, they're already doing good job. You got to go out. So we used to go, basketball courts. We used to go, soccer fields. We used to go, places that, imams should not go. You cannot play basketball like this, even though I did, But if sometimes we go to a park.
So you got your Jordans on, yeah?
Yeah, so I did.
You come with your Jordans.
But the most attractive thing to them was they see me like this, and they're like, oh, how are you? I'm like, give me the ball, man. They're like, can you shoot? So immediately they challenge you. And then, a few moves and all that, they were like, whoa, he can ball, he's a baller, guys, watch out, And then the next day you come, you're ready, they pick you immediately. I want the Sheikh. And the funny thing is, with the other team, it was like, everybody was like, I want to pick him, I want to shoot. So it was more exciting for them to block a Sheikh or get blocked by Sheikh or, or by Imam. And I think our Imams, they should stop preaching. Our Imams in the masajid, they stop. You gotta lose your thobe. You gotta lose your, your kufi. You gotta go, go to the dirt. Go where the work is needed. There's no point of you not having a nice outfit coming to the masjid where everybody else is outside.
Yeah,
You know?
it's true. You need to fit in with, you need to get into them areas.
Yeah.
And you was telling me as well that you used to have a minibus you used to take, and you picked all the worst kids, right? All the ones who were not practicing.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That was my first experience. It's like, because you got to keep in mind, I was raised in that environment, and I know what the boys of my age were doing. Those days really were not that bad, but it was bad. For you to hang out with a girl, it was bad. It was like, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, But what we did, we said, okay, I don't need these guys, good guys. I want the bad guys.
Yeah.
And it was a miracle, just a miracle. How little work that these guys really needed. It wasn't like you gotta be like Rasulullah, 10 years. It wasn't like that. It was like 2-3 weeks, and they're all like this. 2-3 weeks, done. But my condition was that because it was a group of Islamic organization that was doing da'wah. My condition was, I'm not gonna preach. I'm not gonna teach. What are you gonna do? I'm playing ball. And they're like, but you should be in charge with da'wah. I said, yeah, I am in charge of da'wah. Yeah. But it's not according to you. So there was no reminders. There was no fear of Allah. There was like, that you're doing haram. It's just like, let's play ball. But I only have one condition. Stop the ball and respect him when I'm praying. That's all.
So when you're praying, they don't play.
That's it. Stop dribbling, because I can't do, ruku' and sujood.
But you didn't tell them to pray?
No.
SubhanAllah.
No, I didn't ask anybody to join us.
SubhanAllah.
Nobody. But it only took 3 weeks. And every one of them, would come ready for salah.
SubhanAllah.
Just ready, SubhanAllah. And they're like, Sheikh, I gotta go take off my my socks, and again, just hold on, wait for me. And then I said, okay, now if you can do, there's a lot of easier ways. Say, how? I said, okay, when you're coming to the, make sure you have wudu. So, and in case you lose your wudu, you don't have to take off your shoes, just wipe over your socks. I said, really? Whoa. And then Islam became easy, something that they can practice while they're having fun. Right? Because in their mind was, Islam and fun, they're two different directions. Fun is haram in Islam, There's a haram police at the masjid, and you can't have fun, you can't enjoy, so it's all about pray. But they learn a lot just by you being with them.
SubhanAllah. Sheikh, you were telling me as well that things changed. It wasn't always so easy. They wasn't always so accepting of you. Like when you became known as an imam, it's not as easy to actually...
To penetrate.
To penetrate and work with the youth.
No. It became...
Even though you was willing to be with them, they kind of...
There's a perception, and it's a wrong perception. And that perception is the imam is up there, and he should not be with you, right? So to penetrate that relationship is a challenging, because Sheikh Saeed, and even if you follow somebody, they won't call the foul. I say, call your foul. So call your foul.
You shouldn't have been fouling anyway.
I fouled them. I fouled them.
Sheikh, I remember I used to play basketball. I never liked football.
Okay, good.
I was never into it. And I used to play basketball.
Well, that's how we get along, man.
We'll have to get out later. No, but we was doing all right. But I remember when you actually learn the rules properly, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier. What?
I remember when we actually learned, because we were all just playing ball on the street,
Right.
But then when we actually got an actual coach who was teaching us properly, it was totally different.
It's completely different, Street ball, the real game. But the point is, it became more challenging for me to break that barrier, thick respect. Is okay and it's good to respect the imam and sheikh. But if you're respecting the imam so much that you really, can't tell him what you want, and you're afraid that he's going to label you as an unrighteous and wicked person, that's a problem. We go to the doctors and we tell them everything, right? Because I believe that if I tell my doctor everything, he will prescribe the medication that I need to overcome my illness. Now, if this young person who's sick with doubts, sick with sins, sick with confusion, if he cannot confide in me, cannot tell me the truth, because that thick respect, fake respect, then how am I going to treat that person?
Yeah.
Right? So I always try to break that.
Because we did a youth conference the other day in Manchester, and mashallah, I mean, we had all the youth, anyone under like 18, 19, had to get out of the masjid. We took the uncles out, we said, look, go upstairs. This is specifically for the youth. We must have had, how many people would you say were there?
Yeah, it was good.
Over 100 people, the sisters, the brothers. And they were asking questions. They were open. They were asking you so many questions. They were open to you, and we need that. They need to be.
Yes, because they were taught. Again, perception. Masjid is a holy place, which is a sacred place. Absolutely, imams should be respected. I don't mind a young person, cursing while he's telling his story. I did this, I did this, because this is their language. I can correct him later on, bit by bit, but if I shut him down from the beginning, what is my job? What is my job? Like, look at the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to sit with the Sahaba. He used to sit with the, young people. A little girl would come. Little girl just grab me out and say, I want to talk to you. And he on the side, and everybody's waiting for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But this little Jariyah, she's talking to him. A little boy, is riding with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His life was simple. He was a man of the community. He was not a preacher. He was not a lecturer. He was not like, you dress nice, dress fresh, come talk to the people. He wasn't like that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wasn't like that, So we got to follow his sunnah.
So Sheikh, 2013, you decided to go Africa. Of course, this is your roots back to Africa. As you know, I've got a lot of love for Africa. It's where I found Islam. I'm living in Uganda.
I know.
And this is a love that we share. And I'm telling you something, like about 10 years ago, when I came to Islam, you can ask my friends who have known me for that long. I said, my vision for Africa is to do big events, for dawah, bring in lots of people to hear the message of Islam. And you actually set up the Journey of Faith originally in Africa.
Yes.
And we've been involved developing the Journey of Faith, adding to it. And instead of inventing the wheel again, I kind of joined you guys, and we've been taking it around. So how do you feel in Africa? How is it going back to Africa?
When I was flying, I think it was July 2013, and when I was flying from Toronto, I was like, what the heck am I doing? Where am I going?
To go to Africa?
Yeah.
Serious?
I was like, what am I doing? But I was in a desperate situation that I had if I had any other option, but Africa would be off the map. But I was like, what am I doing? And I was transit right here, and I'm sitting in a coffee shop, and I'm thinking to myself, you really made a lot of mistakes in the past, but this is the worst of all. This is the worst of all. You gotta understand. I left Somalia as, I was literally I was a child. I don't remember much. I don't remember nothing.
So you was actually born in Somalia?
Yeah, I was born in Somalia, but I barely remember nothing.
SubhanAllah.
Nothing. If you give me a piece of paper and say, write, what do you remember from Somalia, I won't be able to finish two paragraphs. So, but at the same time, we lived through, civil war. Because I had to run, and then civil war, poverty, struggle, and then I came to the West, and every image that I see from Africa is a little boy, a little girl, in the middle of nowhere, where the goats are dead, flies all over his or her face, snotty nose, tears, have a little empty cup, that's my Africa.
Sheikh, that's most people when you say Africa, that's what they think about. I just told an uncle I live in Uganda. He went, "What's up? What are you doing there?" It's like this is what they imagine, Sheikh.
But that's what they project. And that's why my kids and the youth, when you talk to them about Africa, you literally have to sit them down and say, "Okay, read this. This is the resources. This is what we have. This is what is there. Somehow somebody don't want you to go there. Somehow somebody wants to make sure that you're not gonna go there. You won't enjoy that ni'mah. And even the ones in Africa, they're dying in Libyans desert, leaving Africa, right?
Sheikh,
and I'm saying
subhanallah,
what are
Sheikh,
you doing?
we had a Kenyan drop out of a plane.
Yes.
He snuck into the wheel of the plane in Kenya, and then as the plane was landed in London, he fell out. He froze to death. And I'm thinking, Kenya's like paradise, subhanallah.
That's because it's all psychological, warfare. It's like Africa, So when I was going to Africa, I was like, I hope nobody steals my shoes. I hope nobody would steal my shoes. I'm like, oh boy,
get kidnapped.
I remember when I went to Masjid al-Rahma. How Masjid al-Rahma was big and nice. I was like, okay. Where
Feels
are
like
we?
the Middle East. Yeah,
where are we? And then I had to put one end of the side of the shoe shelves, and the other to put it on the side.
Sheikh, you have to do that in Manchester, Sheikh.
And I was like, okay. And in my salah, I was almost so certain when I come out, my shoes would be stolen. But then I realized, have you ever watched the movie Matrix?
Yeah.
You know how the reality is like, no, I can't.
Different, yeah.
It's different. That's exactly how I felt. Matrix. So, wait a second. What is happening? This Africa is beautiful. And I see young people driving nice, expensive cars. And I was like, I don't even know how much the car costs in Canada, let alone having it in Africa. So it was a turn that was needed for me. It's a turn I really, really, really appreciate Africa now.
A lot of the Muslims these days, they're thinking of going back home, maybe India, Pakistan, Malaysia, the Middle East, Egypt. They don't think about Africa, Sheikh. It's not even a thought.
No, well, again, the media really, 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 forget about the Indians and then go back to the Africans. Even though the ones who say, you know what, I said, I need to retire. I want to back home. Or those who see that the children losing the culture, the values, and they say we need to go back. They can't go back because their children will not go with them. You have to understand. Your child, you invested in your children. You have this. You have 6, 7 of them, 5, whatever number, and they're like, we're not going. We're not going
because it's not home for them no more.
Not only that. The perception that was, if in the school, have you ever seen the map of Africa next to what's this, next to Iceland? What is that?
Greenland.
Greenland, right? Have you seen?
They put them at the same size.
It looks at Africa, whole Africa. This is the school material, that you should. Whole Africa is smaller than Greenland.
Yeah.
So as a kid, it's like, everybody's starving. Everybody, there's a lot of famine, a lot of diseases, and I'm not going. So the parent, they say, okay, we'll stay with you. We'll stay with you. So, and that's why they say, okay, what about Egypt? What about India? What about So the kids are like even Africa. I'm talking about only about African kids. They can handle going to Pakistan or India or Egypt or even Dubai or then going back to Africa. Where in Kenya now they drink gold. Have you seen that? In Africa there's a drinkable gold. People have so much money that just a normal cappuccino is not enough. They have to sprinkle gold, 24 karat, right?
In Kenya.
In Kenya. And then you drink that, cup of cappuccino made out of gold.
Crazy.
That's how rich
people don't know the
and
reality.
Then you have mothers, with the minivan, living in Toronto, with the snow up to their knees, scrambling the snow out of the car, have 5 kids, they have to drive them to school, where everything could be available for them, education. Kenyan education, by far, even Somali education, is better than the British education, the Canadian education, and American education. It's better than them. But in their mind, no. No. So it's a brainwash kind of thing.
Sheikh, what was your initial intention and vision behind Journey of the Faith? Journey of Faith.
Journey of Faith, the idea was, especially in the community when I saw Africa, there's a lot of masajid and the shuyukh are only limiting themselves to the people who come to them. Journey of Faith is, especially in Africa, is open gate for everybody. Sisters who have no hijab, brothers with tattoo and earrings, people who dress un-Islamic. I want them to come to the conference because my purpose is to give da'wah to them, not to the one who already is ahead of me. You know, he's praying that stuff ahead of me, and I want to give him a da'wah. If he came to the masjid before me, I just want to tell him, fear Allah. He fears Allah. But those people, nobody's catering to them. So that's why the idea, even when we started the Journey of Faith in Toronto, the idea was, hey, this youth don't come to the masajids. So we need to give them, just to ignite the iman. Like when you're starting your engine, you just hit it.
That first step.
Yeah, the first step, and then when it starts, they will move along with the da'wah. But in Canada, we find that masajids are failing the youth. Most masajids are not, older generation building masajids for themselves. But they collect the money under the name of youth, right? We need to save our youth, we need to build, and they collect all the money from everybody.
But they don't do youth
Now
work.
when the masjid is built, there's no place for youth, no place for girls. So even if in Canada, for example, we have the conference, everybody's excited. Like one of the conferences, I think 32 people accepted Islam, right? Accepted Islam in the city of Toronto. But after the conference, youth, like we had over 500 youth, all excited, they want to do, but masajid are limited. So
for those who
that's
don't
the
know,
idea.
Journey of Faith now, mashallah, especially in Africa, it's really grown.
Right.
I think Kenya now, this will be the 8th year, I think, if not mistaken.
Yes.
So 8 years it's been running, and they get like almost 4,000 or 5,000 people each day.
That's the capacity of the venue.
Yeah, it's full. And people outside, they want to come in as well.
Yes.
And that's 2 days, each day, 4,000 or 5,000 people. Yeah. And this year, for the first time, we did it in Uganda, even 2,000 people for the first time. We've got Nigeria, subhanAllah.
But that's the thing that you realize, but a lot of da'is did not realize it. A lot of people in the Middle East did not realize that da'wah is there. The future of da'wah is there, right? Not here, not in the West. Here, I always tell everybody, what we do as imams, as da'is, is we try to maintain the deen and the identity of Muslims. We really don't give da'wah. We don't, But in Africa, you open the door for da'wah, everybody will come. And they are simple as, you providing a cup of tea. Here, look how much money we spend printing books, making food, inviting everybody, printing flyers, going to the university, going to the streets, and, Allah, Islam. And if 12 people accept Islam per year, you're successful. So that's the future of da'wah. Da'is, and even, how many people, how long it took me to convince these international da'is to come to Africa? And they were like, Africa, is it safe? Is it safe? Do I need, my shot? They think as soon as they land, either somebody's gonna rip the, limbs apart, or they're gonna, somebody gonna,
I know now, we know some sheikhs, they're even considering maybe moving there, because they've seen the beauty of Africa.
It's true. Because again, once again, they're not from Africa. At the same time, they're only seen or shown one aspect of what is there, which is all negative. It's all negative. But I think the future is in Africa. And that's why you and I, every time we travel, you see at the airport or you see on the plane a lot of Chinese people. Chinese people, because Chinese people are smart people, by the way. They will not waste their time in Africa if there's no future in Africa. But what they sell, this is the funny thing, one of the Chinese businessmen said, he said, listen, China is polluted. China is done. We produce everything. We don't want to pollute Africa. You guys buy from us and don't produce anything. We'll produce it for you. Which means they literally want you to be a consumer. You know,
When
paralyzing
you have it in Africa. You have everything
You
need.
have everything in Africa. But this guy is trying to convince me, don't produce anything. Don't do anything. Just leave Africa as it is, you know, and we will bring everything for you. I wish if Africans can understand how much and blessings that Allah has given them.
SubhanAllah.
Allah has given them, but they don't.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. SubhanAllah is a good reminder. Is there any last words you want to say to anyone listening at home?
Well, we touched upon in the different things, but for the youth, you know, I'll say to them, Islam is not as restrictive as you think. It's not. Islam is not against fun and enjoying yourself. Enjoy yourself in a halal way. There's tons of halal way where you can really have fun. At the same time, be a perfect Muslim. Bi idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would say to them also, you know, take a look at Africa. Just come on, take one trip.
Yeah.
You know, one trip.
And it's not only for charity work, Africa.
I was about to say bring a lot of money because it's not as cheap as you think in certain areas.
Yeah.
It's not as cheap, you know.
Yeah.
So I went to Somalia.
So believe it or not, Sheikh, there was one masjid in the UK. They went to fundraise in Africa for a masjid in UK.
They did that also in was it Sweden? I think they got like around $300,000 US only from city of Hargeisa.
Subhanallah.
You know, they couldn't do that in Sweden, so they went to Somalia. You know, so there's a lot of money, a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
So
it's a great lifestyle.
It is, and everything. The labor is cheap. You know, services are beautiful. Look at Kenya. You know, you can live like a king.
Yeah.
With a fraction of income that you have here in UK or in Canada.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
Habibi.
It's been a pleasure to catch up with you again. And inshallah, we'll be in Journey of Faith in Kenya, Uganda.
Inshallah.
I think the next time we'll see you
Nigeria.
probably,
Inshallah.
next time will probably be Uganda. We'll see you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And we'll do another podcast, inshallah.
Jazakallah
khair. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء